Okay.
Welcome back. Trust the Process, episode 5. You got the usuals, Micah and Jake, and we have our returning guest, Jason. He has redeemed himself from his DK Metcalf trades. He's out of timeout. He's back, looking better than ever. Jake, kick us off with a recap of last week.
Oh yeah, glad to be here, Jason. Welcome back to the
long time listener. Good to be on.
Fresh out of DK Metcalf purgatory. So going over last week's results, a couple upsets, a lot as expected. I was up against Joe's team. I ended up losing this match that should have been a win. It was rather disappointing, to be really honest. Joe hit the ceiling, I hit a floor. I don't think there's too much that needs to go into detail with that one. Going down into the Lonely Boys versus Big Meech. Big Meech took that one kind of as expected. Joel's on the downward swing of things, and Micah's looking for a championship. Najee and the Jets versus Schneidi. Najee took the W pretty easily there as expected. Jason ran over his opponent, going up against the freshly gutted team of 4-string running backs. 78 points is extremely lackluster. Almost, you have to try to almost get that low.
I haven't been doing that, and I'm trying. I'm not trying to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's just impressive to put up literally 78 points, and he didn't even play anyone that was injured. Just literal terrible team. Like, he's doing what he wants to do. He wants to lose. Bordeaux,
He's doing it well.
Bordeaux had a close one against the old Outlaws. J-Rod's 0-4. Outlaws almost took a victory off of Bordeaux, and I know he's looking for a championship. That would have been rough. And then last but not least, Stu, thank you for coming through. My pick of the week took the W against Macon, who definitely had a floor game. So that puts us just going on to our pick'ems that we've been tracking all season, or I guess since week 2. I am 16-2 after missing the matchup with me. And then Meech went to 13-5, I believe, or 14-4. I do have to double check because we were only flipped on Zach and Stu's. So that should be it for us. So that would put him at 14-4.
Interesting that the man keeping score doesn't really know the score.
I got it. Okay.
Going.
I had to refer to the pod. I'll be honest. I have it all tracked. So yeah, pretty straightforward last week. Nothing crazy. The upset to me did suck, but it wasn't anything too out of the realm of possibilities. Going into the trades that were made, starting off with Sunday, actually before kickoff, we started making some moves. I sent Melvin Gordon to making moves for Robert Woods. He needed a running back as he was starting Melvin Ingram. He was starting Mark Ingram. Sorry, I'm all over the place tonight. He's starting Mark Ingram and needed a running back. I wanted a receiver who was kind of down in the dumps this season, who still has a lot of talent.
Bobby Trees, baby.
Yeah, that's
Bobby Trees.
Bobby Trees, go win me a chip. No, he's just a really good piece to have. He's still a good receiver, a ton of talent. He's got a few good years left, help me carry over, whereas Melvin Gordon is definitely on the downward swing. Now we will definitely hear from our guest because he had the blockbuster of the week between actually the other two here on the pod. Micah and Jason did a trade where Micah acquired Mr. Saquon Barkley, sending over Miles Sanders, Chase Claypool, and a 2022 first-round pick. Jason, let's get your thoughts, and then Meech, go ahead and follow up with your side of it.
Go to the screen. Go to the trade screen. All right, go ahead, Jason.
Well, so whoa, go back to that one. But before we go, I want to get some color.
You want to talk about Bobby Trees?
I do want to talk about
my Bobby Trees move.
I loved this trade. This was chef's kiss. Zach needed a running back. He did. It was looking bad. Melvin Gordon, even though he is in basically a 50-50 timeshare in Denver, has looked surprisingly not like a 28-year-old running back. been pretty fun to watch this year, actually, and he's been producing. So I think that was a good flip, especially for Robert Woods, who's had a tough start to the season, but is in this offense that is just loaded with talent. And I mean, it's very foreseeable that he is going to have some regression back to the mean and is going to look fantastic for the rest of the year. He has a history of disappearing for a few games at a time. You can fact check me on that one. That this is something that he does. It just happens to be at the beginning of the season here. But yeah, really like this trade. In terms of being mutually beneficial, you can't get much better than this. So I wanted to give my thoughts to that before we went to the real story here.
So I think this is a great trade on Jake's part. Melvin Gordon, though he's had a decent year so far, I think he's like on the downslope, right? They drafted Javonte Williams. I think by the end of the year, the split you're looking at isn't close to 50-50. So I feel like Melvin Gordon got sold high and he bought Robert Woods low here. Robert Woods is a great buy this week, in my opinion. The fact you can get rid of an old aging running back for anything that's serviceable is a good move. So well done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a thought process, just to put a pin in the trade. There was a thought process. Melvin Gordon sat on the bench. I mean, I have 4 of the top 10 running backs. So why do I need another running back who's just kind of decent? Time to get rid of him, get some talent that can carry me year over year. Running backs don't have that longevity, whereas receivers tend to stick around. So yeah, exactly. Sell high, buy low, and it worked out for me. But yeah, so moving on to the big one, Mr. Barkley. Jason, what made you give it up to Don't Trade with Meech?
Let's get to the real thought process here. Thoughts and prayers, making moves towards that 2024 championship and the 2025 championship and the 2026 championship. This was a move that was a very long time in the making. I knew right from the beginning of the season that Micah was going to offer me some amount of young talent combined with my own draft pick for Saquon Barkley. This just pretty much solidifies my ingenious strategy since the beginning of the season to amass an absurd amount of first round picks and have the youngest championship team in dynasty football history. So but with that being said, I don't think this was I think this is a very equitable trade. Obviously Meech is going for a title this year. I am not. Regrettably, my dark horse winner that we talked about back in the preseason, Gus Edwards, decided to blow out his knee immediately after I hyped him.
Like the next day.
The next practice.
The very next day.
Yeah, that aged horribly. I think the podcast released after he blew out his knee and the news came out.
Yeah.
But regardless, I got shelled for my DK Metcalf trade, which turned out to be pretty good. Turned out pretty nice. It's still pretty nice. It was DK for a couple firsts. Someone else that I don't remember. It was all right. But anyways, I think this was a mutually beneficial trade. Meech was waiting to see. He played this like a very, very smart dynasty owner. He wanted to kick the tires and he kept kicking them until they started spinning on Saquon, and they fucking spun last week. Pardon my French. This is an equitable trade. It's very good for both sides, and I'm looking toward a bright future. Meech is looking toward a championship window. That's about all I got. Yeah,
no, for sure.
Also, the Lions defense just abysmal against the Bears. That was really sad. So they're gone.
True.
Yeah.
They got dropped. Just before I get Meech's side of why he did it, what his plans are. I pulled up your draft picks because you did claim you picked up quite a few, and just looking at it, there's a lot of green there. You've picked up quite a few picks. What are you scheming? Are you just trying to stockpile? Are you I guess you have a ton of picks, but it's rookie drafts year over year. There's not a ton of win now talent. You're going to really have to build up. What is your thought with all that?
Well, as you know, Jacob, I like to keep my cards close to my chest, but I really have a lot of belief in the 2023 draft class, and what it's shaping up to be. I think there's a lot of running back talent in 2022, which is why I'm excited to get back my my first pick. So I'll definitely be looking at a high level running back, and God willing, if people don't tank harder than I do, not intentionally, of course, because I am starting my best players and actively competing in every game, as is evidenced by the last game, where I put up a very respectable 114 points. But I digress. I think the 2022 draft class has some running back talent. I think the 2023 draft class is loaded, and I wanted to gear up for that. I think, I have 5 of what'll probably be the top 20 picks. So I'm going to be able to stack myself with some nice talent and be in a good situation going into 2024. And then I'll be able to fill in my gaps, hopefully, and open that championship window.
It's definitely a good slew of picks you have on your side. A lot of draft capital to do whatever you need to do. To the other side of the trade, the one who landed the big fish, you gave up some young stuff. You gave up that first rounder. I know you especially do respect and want your first round picks as much as anybody. What made you pull the trigger?
Yeah, so to kind of piggyback off of what Jason just said about the draft classes, I really like the 23 draft class right now. I'm not as big on the 22 class, which is some of the reason why I was able to part with this, right? Looking back at the 21 draft class, knowing Najee's coming out or someone like Jamar Chase, a top 2 pick is more valuable than this next draft class because I don't think there's someone like that at the top. And so I was okay with trading this pick for that reason. Like I said, if it was a 2023 pick and it was going to be top 3, I'd probably value it a little different. But giving that jet back to Jason, like you said, this trade, I think I sent it, and maybe 15 minutes later, me and Jason messaged real quick and he accepted it. A couple of weeks ago, looking at his team, I'm like, all right, I have his first pick. He has Saquon, is really the only guy that would make sense for us. I want to make sure Saquon is Saquon again before I send this trade. And at the same time, I got more information on Miles Sanders and Claypool. I really liked Sanders before the year. I think he's a talented guy. But Kenny Gainwell's been playing so well for the Eagles. They're having a hard time keeping that guy off the field. So it seems to be a 50-50-ish split right now. And without injury, I don't see how Sanders gets it back unless he really pops off. So I was very comfortable sending him after the 4 weeks, what I've seen. Claypool, I really love as a talent. I think he could be a top 15 guy in the right situation, but he's just in like the absolute worst situation. There's a bunch of mouths to feed. He isn't the number 1 guy there. He might not even be the number 2 guy, depending on the day. If you count Najee Harris, he's probably a 3rd option at least every week. And then you have Ben Roethlisberger, who absolutely cannot throw a football anymore. He looks like me when I try to throw it left-handed is what he looks like out there. So I didn't love either of those situations on the players. The pick, like I said, the draft class, to me, I didn't think Jason's pick was going to be high enough to really get a superstar guy. So I was comfortable sending it back. It's win-win for both of us. I mean, Jason gets young assets and multiple of them. And they actually have like a pathway to success, and I can get Saquon. So it's the closest thing we get to CMC without being CMC. So when you got a shot at it and the price works out, I mean, you got to just pull the trigger.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say after last week, Saquon's definitely looking like Saquon again too, which is really nice to see. Another stud up at the top of the ladder.
The quad father.
Yeah, the quad father. No, overall, I think it was
that right now.
I think that was a really good trade. I think, Jason, you have some optimism as much as Meech was a little pessimistic on your talent too. I think Claypool really could come alive. Pittsburgh's obviously not going to run with Roethlisberger going forward after this season, at least if he makes it through this season, and get somebody who can throw him a ball. We know that this offense has a lot of talent. Luckily for me, I have the only one Ben throws to that is a Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson. But get a quarterback that knows what they're doing, and you got a stud wide receiver. And same with Miles Sanders. He's just got to get the opportunity. They've never fed the beast purely and truly, and until he gets that, he's got to prove himself. But no, overall is a pretty banger trade. Made for a good conversation on a week that was rather quiet. So well done, boys.
Yeah, I mean, this was a trade that was just destined to happen. I don't think somebody from outside of our Mike and I's ongoing hotline for trade negotiations would have really realized this, but it just everything about it made sense. This was a foregone conclusion for a long time, and it was fun to make it happen.
Good. No, it was awesome. I love seeing trades like this. I love having to type up some trade recaps too. So as long as everyone else is staying pretty active, we're in for a good middle section of pod every week too. With that, we're gonna gear towards our wrap up here with our weekly matchups and pick'ems. Jason, feel free to comment on any of the matchups you got. And then at the end here, we'll get a nice spicy take from you. So going into one of the, I say, marquee matchups of the week, two of the big dogs going at it is the old JGC 395s against
Terrible
the
name.
quad. Yeah, I gotta figure it out. I gotta do better.
Literally anything else.
Yeah, against the quad father. Newly
Told you I
named.
changed my name.
Newly named as of literally 45 seconds ago. So for me, I'm gonna take my team. I think my team's just is extremely good. Last week obviously didn't pan out. I had a floor game. I don't see that being the case every single week. I got a lot of question marks, but when you got studs who need the workload maintenance, you're gonna see question marks all season long. Plus I might get CMC back. You just look at this lineup and it's just like almost unstoppable. But you're definitely no slouch on your side of the ball either, especially adding Mr. Quad Father himself. I'm gonna pick myself, but what do you got going on?
Yeah, definitely. Your team's super good. Lots of superstars. No one could ever beat them. Who cares about questionable players? All that stuff. We'll pick Jake here. No, that's stupid, man. Your team sucks. No, obviously, I think we're two of the handful of best teams up here, especially with some of the moves I've made recently. Realistically, it's a coin flip, right? We're projected pretty close, which whatever projections. Anything can happen though. An injury, anything, a dud of a game, anything like that, it can kind of swing this either way. Realistically, though, for me, I don't really care who wins. I would love to win and stay undefeated. That'd be awesome. But I would rather make sure I beat you in like December in the semifinals or finals rather than now. I'll give you this week. Give me week like 15 or 16 though.
Fair enough. And I'm sure we'll meet again, definitely in the playoffs. Any remarks while I get to the next matchup, Jason?
Yeah, you didn't start Robert Woods over Chuba Hubbard. Well, I mean, you can still take Chuba
Yeah,
out. But
lineups aren't done, boy.
yeah,
But Robert
did
Woods
you
is locked.
see
That
the
game
Bobby
started.
Trees catch though? That was disgusting.
So if you want to just click this next matchup while we're talking about Robert Woods and starting players in Thursday Night Football, Joel, you left Chris Carson in your starting lineup, who probably shouldn't even be there on a week he is playing, but he's ruled out. Joel, come on.
Wait, was this the basis of the commissioner intervention?
Oh my Lord, we're gonna start like I think I'm gonna start doing Roger Goodell style and start fining people next year.
I think we should do a $5 or $10 fine towards the first place winner, or divvied out amongst the top 3.
We'll figure it out in the offseason, but I'm all for something like that. Joel, I trusted you. I didn't think I'd have to talk to you about this, but here we are. But at the same time, a bunch of other teams you're tanking against have also started people out. So whatever, dude. Fuck it. Everyone gets a mulligan one a week or something.
I'll add some color to this dialogue. It's a Thursday night game. He obviously made a mistake here. I'll argue it. I'll argue on his behalf. I think the reports last night about Chris Carson's neck were absolutely ridiculous. Despite the fact that he is out with a neck issue this week, this has been reported as an ongoing issue spanning several years, which there's been no indication of that actually being the truth outside of some fringe reports. And I believe he was only ruled out this morning. So,
No,
I mean,
it was
I get
actually
it. I get it.
6:39 p.m. according to Shefty. I just pulled it up as I was setting my DFS lineup. So it was pretty close to kickoff, to be fair, but
He should have been keeping track, but he did.
As a fantasy football enthusiast, you're following that shit up until kick, especially when your team's playing or you have important players playing. But nonetheless, Joel, we'll let it slide, and you solidified my pick in the matchup at least. So good thing I didn't root for you. So yeah, I think overall, Najee's gonna win. Again, great team. I think he's trying to get himself up in the playoff race, trying to make moves to get himself a championship. His team's stacking up to be pretty solid. Still some question marks, but overall against Joel's team, who definitely leaned towards tank early on, and then started Chris Carson, I think it's Najee's for sure.
Yeah, Joel, I know you didn't start him on purpose. It's a mistake. It just feels like every week I'm having this conversation with someone. Regardless, I don't think your team's that good either. So I'm gonna pick Najee.
All right, same page on that one. Going into a battle of the bottom, the thoughts and prayers going up against Schneidy's team. My take on this is I actually have Schneidy taking this one from you, Jason. His team on like, it just doesn't look good when you look at his roster. The names aren't sexy. There's nothing that really like makes you feel good about it, but he's put up a good amount of points every week. And then going against the team that just got rid of their point scorer in Saquon, one of their anchors. I think it's just exactly what you wanted, especially after getting a win last week. So I have him, Schneidy taking this one. What do you think, Micah? And then Jason, let me know what your team's trajectory is here.
Give me thoughts and prayers, man. I think they're going to be on a 2-heater beater here.
Yeah.
What is your reasoning? What makes you, are you just riding the hopium of Jason and his passion? Or do you have some reason that you think he's going to actually take this one?
Yeah, no, I'm probably trying to sugarcoat our guests a little bit more than I need to be. But all jokes aside, it's like two turds, man. Neither of them are great. I don't think they're probably like the third and fourth worst teams in the league. I don't think they're the worst. It's a coin flip, but I'll take Jason because he's on the pod. As long as Jonathan Taylor doesn't have a huge game or Russell Wilson doesn't drop like 45 points. Outside of that, I mean, it's just a bunch of turds, man. That's it.
Yeah, fair enough. Battle of the bottoms, and I hope you take the L, Jason.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, anytime. All right, go ahead.
Despite how dire things look, I'm gonna go with Meech's initial optimism. I do think I am going to win another game, unfortunately. It's a very clean team right now, even though it may not look like it. This is still a team that's full of heart. Tyler Boyd is playing on an offense that is somewhat depleted right now. That's all I got. Yeah, I can't even argue. I can't even argue on behalf of my team. It's not very good.
Yeah,
they'll be all right. They'll be
rolling out
fine.
Cephas, rolling out Pittman.
No, I'm not rolling out. I don't know if I'm rolling out Cephas yet. Chase is sitting on the bench. I'm just waiting to see what his little injury issue is looking like.
Oh my God!
You never want to rush those hammies, you know.
Your bench is
we've suffered some injuries this season.
You traded for half of those guys.
No, I only traded for Jerry Jeudy and J.K. Dobbins. The rest have been and Irv Smith. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good for you. If you pull out a W with half of your bench being on injured reserve or out for the year.
I already did, brother.
You
already did. Pulled out the dub.
Yeah. Good for you. I mean, I think it's nice with the IR designations. You know exactly where your team's heading, though.
To the fucking hospital.
We are split on that one. Meech taking the old thoughts and prayers. Next matchup we got is Ryan Bordeaux's team versus Broken Step. Joe, the dark horse, going up against a front runner here. My call here is that Joe actually takes it. I don't know what it is about this team. But every week they seem to put up points. Just like last week, I felt super comfortable going even into Sunday night games. And before I know it, I was watching that projection of who's gonna win slowly teeter. Monday night hit, that first Eckler touchdown came in and that was all she wrote. It was pretty much over from that point. So I see that team just stacking up a lot of points. Always the names aren't super sexy, but he seems to get it done. So
Jake, that's very mature of you. The team that beat you last week, you're picking them again this week, even though they're a bit of an underdog.
yep.
I'm with you though. Bordeaux has had like 2 weeks in a row now that haven't been super impressive. I mean, he should have lost last week if J-Rod played the right defense, but he hasn't looked super great the last couple of weeks. Joe's team is hot. Debo Samuel is having a killer year right now. Waddle's still playing well. CeeDee Lamb's playing good. Noah Fant's doing what he's supposed to do. And then you add in these running backs. I mean, those what Zeke have? They each had 2 touchdowns last week. Like,
Oh, Zeke's gonna feast this week.
Yeah. That team, I mean, like I said, it's the dark horse. There's nothing that screams championship. There's nothing that screams he should win a ton of games, score a ton of points. But I mean, he seems to do it. Waddle catches 12 balls a game. So even if he only does get like 60 yards on those catches, he's still getting points. CeeDee Lamb hasn't even had a ceiling game yet. So he's got people on here that are still just putting out average numbers. He gets it all to click and he's going to beat any of us any given week. So I got the underdog going for 2 in a row.
A 2-beater heater.
I'm taking Bordeaux.
Oh yeah.
Easy to go with the favorite.
I'm being a contrarian by going with the favorite here. Yeah, bad week by Kamara, but now we have Damian Williams, who is honestly one of the best stopgap running backs the NFL's seen over the past 7 or 8 years. I believe the last time he was a spot starter, he averaged 6.1 yards carry, put up a huge game. I see that happening again, especially against Vegas, not the greatest defense. Great receivers. Devontae Adams had a down week last week as well. He's going to bounce back. Randall Cobb isn't going to catch 2 touchdowns every week.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp had a bad week.
Yep,
for his standards.
Hawk Daddy had a horrible week.
He's a little banged up too, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
When you're the only person that can catch a ball on that offense, you're gonna take a beating. So we'll see how he holds
Cephas
up.
didn't look terrible last week.
Beating out for his ponytail, Jake. That's why.
Yeah, something like that. All right, so we're all kind of, well, Meech and I are on Joe's side for this one. Going into the second to last matchup, we're gonna go. Stu's team, LOLGG, against Mr. Buck, 4-string running back. This is gonna be, I think, another banger matchup. Stu did get a big win for the franchise, as he put it, last week.
Dogs barked last week.
Dogs
barked last week at 4-string running backs team too.
Yeah, it was. No, Stu did come back and get a win. He needed it bad, real bad. This week I'm riding the hot hand again. It's not looking super pretty, but I do have Stu coming out and taking a W. Yeah, I think he rides the hot hand and gets it done.
Yeah, 4-strings gutted, like you said earlier. He should be probably the favorite to lose every game, every week. Yeah, give me Stu's team.
Easy enough. All right, last matchup, we get to go into the J-Rod's White Claw Outlaws. The old 0-4 Outlaws going up against Making Moves. 3-1. Zach's team, pretty good, pretty old, but pretty good. And then obviously Clear Tank. I have Zach winning. I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
Jesus, his team is ancient.
Yeah.
Wow.
And somehow they're doing all right still.
Yeah, Grandpa Brady. He doesn't have Gronk in this. Does he have Gronk still?
No, I think Najee has Gronk.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I think Zach's gonna win it pretty easily. J-Rod's team just doesn't have it. Give him a couple years, build up some talent, get some of these young guys to hit. He'll be fine. But we're gonna be taking L's all season.
Yeah. until J-Rod has some good drafts, he might be like the bottom bitch of the league. Like he might just ride that bottom for a while, and he doesn't have a ton of picks. Jason's doing the rebuild, but he has a lot of ammo coming up in these next couple of drafts, and J-Rod doesn't have as much. He has one extra first round pick.
He's
Two.
doing okay.
Two extra there.
2023, he's doing okay. He needs URI to really have a bad year after this one, to get those picks up a little bit, but it's looking like he'll host the #1 pick going into the big coveted 2023 class. So
yeah, he's got to draft
definitely-
well.
yeah, definitely not his year this year, but hopefully he gets a win or two, keeps the morale high from his end. But
Yeah.
it ain't gonna be this week.
So after that, I mean, it's probably anyone against him, and we're picking anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accurate. Yeah, so that sums it up. We're all the same except for Jason and Schneidy's matchup this week, Meech. Hopefully we keep that going.
Come on, Jason.
Yeah, you gotta hit that one. Catch up here.
Do let me down.
You're only down 2,
Jacob, you
so-
should have played Robert Woods.
Yeah, is he?
That's all I'm
lighting
gonna
up?
say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense as soon as I trade for him and want him to sit the bench for a bit, prove that he's ready to go. He fucking comes out swinging, but, no, that's awesome. What's the exit here for you, Jason, is as the special guest, we need a hot take of the week. What is the hot take gonna be?
It may not be so hot because I believe he's the #2 overall running back in half point PPR right now. Cordarrelle Patterson. He had a 30-point game last week. I think he's gonna have another 30-point game. We have Russell Gage out. We have Calvin Ridley out. Mike Davis is garbage. Like, who is actually going to produce in that offense? But a
No one.
30-year-old who has never put up more than 300 rushing yards in their career. It's gonna be Cordarrelle Patterson. Matt Ryan, worse than Ben Roethlisberger, can't throw up more than 6 yards downfield. Guess what? Perfect setup for the positionless skill player to just sneak into that backfield, catch 15 receptions. I'm going 15 receptions, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 rushes for 11 yards.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's my hot
It's a
take.
very specific hot take.
Very
Yes.
specific. Can't wait to go back to the film on this one after they play in London. The first London game of the year too. We get football all day Sunday.
Also, the man's
Love it.
name, Cordarrelle Patterson, he was built for London football. This man's
Yeah.
gonna feast.
I mean, he's stuck around in the league for like 10 years now, and always has a blimp of fantasy relevance every single year he's played. So
The queen needs a new husband, and it may be Cordarrelle after this Sunday. We'll see.
He's a bum, man. You sold high.
I like the hot take. That was pretty good. I didn't see that coming, that's for sure. Yeah, anyone have any last thoughts they want to throw out there before we wrap up and get ready for some football?
No, I'm good.
Jason, thanks for coming on the show, bud. It's
Oh, thanks
glad
for
to have you
having me
back.
again. Always a pleasure.
You're a good guest here. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and now we get another bum coming in next week, so.
Oh, who's next week?
We need Joel.
Hope
He
it-
needs to explain
yeah.
himself.
Yeah,
He's going on
Joel's really-
trial live on air next week.
Yeah, so Joel, he knows it's coming. We bugged him. We wanted him last week. He said one of these weeks he'll do it. That's gonna be next week for us.
Do it
Joel,
next
you're
week.
hearing it here first. Next week, join us again, more than likely Thursday night. Get it recorded, posted for you guys Friday. Joel, get ready, bring your hot take of the week. Get ready to explain yourself. You're going on trial.
And with that, we'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.